Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Dave's personal top 3,000 songs of the rock era. I just changed the name of this group a few days ago. I still have the old time rock and roll banner. That was the original name of this YouTube channel. Maybe I'll have a new banner pretty soon. I'm not sure. I kind of like this one. But anyway, I'm up to song number 2552 on my list of my personal top 3,000 songs of the rock era from 1954 to 1999. And that one is Whodunit by the Tavares. Not quite sure how to pronounce that. I think it's Tavares. It's not the Tavares, it's Tavares. And I'll get into them in a minute. First, I want to talk a little bit about this song. It was also featured on their 1977 album called Love Storm. And here's a picture of, okay, here's a picture of the group Tavares. But I want to talk about this song first. And it's a clever song. I mean, it was, here's the singles jacket again. It's kind of a disco song. They were Tavares was kind of a R&B or soul or funk or disco man, whatever you want to call him, and they had several big disco hits in the mid to late '70s. This is one of them, and it's kind of a, I don't know if you call it a novelty song, but it's a song where the singer's heartbroken because I guess another guy stole his girlfriend, and so he's asking who done it, like who stole my baby. Everyone in the room looks shady, and it's very clever the way they sing it. And they even mention seven detectives in the song. I can't even tell you who they mention. The first one they mention is Sherlock Holmes. They say, "Where's the bones?" Called it Sherlock Holmes. Then they also mention Charlie Chan, Ellery Queen, McLeod, Kojak, Beretta, and Dirty Harry. Those are all the fictional private decks, I guess they mentioned. And I used to watch a lot of these. I mean, in the mid to late '70s, detective TV series were very popular, and I think I watched a few episodes of Kojak as well as Beretta and McLeod. And I think my favorite at the time was Columbo, played by Peter Falk. Um, I also mentions Dirty Harry, and I saw several of the Dirty Harry movies. Maybe not when they first came out, but later. Yeah, and I was kind of entertained by this song when I first heard it because they mentioned a lot of popular private investigators that I was familiar with, and it's a catchy tune, and it's also kind of clever how it turns into a crime mystery, which is usually a murder mystery, into basically a mystery of who stole his girlfriend. I think it's kind of clever. So anyway, I do like this song, which is I guess why I featured it. Now I'm going to talk about the band Tavares, and I guess one thing I should have mentioned is that they kind of took this song from another song with a similar theme called "Searchin'" by the Coasters. This came out in the '50s, I think it was '57, and Coasters were a very big kind of novelty, old rock group from the '50s. And I really like this song "Searchin'," and that one's coming up much higher on my list. And they also mentioned several private investigators in search. And it's kind of the same idea. He's searching for his girlfriend, and he's asking for help from all these private investigators. So, anyway, just thought I'd mention that. But I'll get back to the Tavares now. Tavares. They were, like I said, a R&B or soul or funk or disco group, whatever you want to call them. They were five brothers. They were formed in New Bedford, Massachusetts in 1973. I think that's where they were all born, where they were originally from. And in case you guys are interested, New Bedford is kind of a small harbor town in New England, pretty close to Boston, maybe an hour or so from Boston. I think it's on Cape Cod. And it was made famous in part by Herman Melville. I think he was from New Bedford, and I think several of his stories, including Moby Dick, at least the beginning of Moby Dick took place in New Bedford because that's where I guess Captain who was it, Ahab, I think, embarked on the whale hunting expedition with his crew. Um, so they were a big whaling town, and I've been there, and I even had a cousin who lived there for a while. Not a bad town, pretty historically interesting, even though I don't think too many people know about it. And I think they have a whaling museum there, or at least nearby. I think Nantucket Island has a whaling museum. Used to be a big industry in the 19th century. That's how they got their whale oil. but I guess we don't need to hunt whales for whale oil anymore, although I think there are parts of the world that still hunt them for sport, which I think is really horrible. But anyway, enough of that. So yeah, they were from New Bedford, Massachusetts, and their members were Pooch, Ralph, Chubby, Butch, and Tony. And I don't know which is which in this picture. Those were their nicknames, and there were five of them. And now I'll just go over their hits. 1973, they had their first hit that was called Check It Out. That went to number 35. In 1974, they had That's the Sound That Lonely Makes, which went to 70. Too Late, which went to 59. And She's Gone, which went to 50. I think most of you guys are probably familiar with that song that was later covered by Hall and Oates in 1976. They had a much bigger hit version of that. I think the Hall and Oates was top 10. I don't know exactly how high it went, but in 1975 they had Remember What I Told You to Forget, which went to 25. And later that year they had their biggest hit, It Only Takes a Minute. That went to number 10. That was their only top 10. Later they had Free Ride, which went to 52. That was a cover of a pretty popular song originally recorded by the Edgar Winter Group. And that one's coming up much higher on my list. I really like. I've never heard the Tavares version, but I have heard the Edgar Winter Group's version, which I do really like. 1976, they had Heaven Must Be Missing an Angel, which went to 15, and Don't Take Away the Music, which went to 34. In 1977, they had the song I'm Featuring Today, Whodunit, which went to 22. In 1978, they had a cover of a very famous Bee Gees song, More Than a Woman, uh, that was on the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack. I'm sure you guys are all familiar with the Bee Gees version. Was also featured in the movie Saturday Night Fever. I don't think the Bee Gees released this song as a single, by the way. But Tavares did, and Tavares' version went to number 32. I guess the Bee Gees left it to Tavares to have the hit with it, which was nice of them, since they already had six number ones, I think. Uh, and then 1979, they had Bad Times, which went to 47. And finally, in 1982, they had A Penny for Your Thoughts, which went to 33. So that was all the hits for Tavares. A pretty prolific disco band and a pretty good one. And I guess that completes my feature for today on Who Done It by Tavares. So thank you for watching. You guys rock, and I'll see you next time.